What's up, everyone? I just wanted to talk about a few things. Some of it's going to be personal, about me in general, but the other is going to be a thank you for all of the prayers. Even though no one posted in the comment section, even though no one posted any prayers in the comment section, I do appreciate the likes, which implies that you did pray, and I thank you very much, because the really bad storms, did miss us when they went through, apparently. And I just wanted to say thank you. And we prayed as well. I prayed as always. I'm always hoping that everything remains safe for all of us. But I just also wanted to go ahead and talk about myself as a child, and but that's the first thing I wanted to just state. When I was a child, I started thinking about the fact that I was into oldies music, and most children that were my age at the time were not into oldies music, and I would always be into the 50s and 60s music, and people would say, "You like that kind of music?" Which is unusual, they would say. And they would always call me an old soul, and when I would be in the store, the people would look in awe at me as a child, and they would just look at me and say that I look so much older, I look like a grown man, or they would say that to me as a little child. And I would have things pop into my mind that were beyond what I should know, and I would have information that came into my mind. Words, information, spelling, vivid imagery, but people did not know what I put up with on the side, spirit-wise, what I would have to see and hear, and I would see and hear things, I still do, oh, believe me, but not at the same exact things as I did as a child. As a child, I would see, and it's almost as if I would see the molecular structure of things and particles and the stars and the universe, everything beyond. I was one with it, and I've talked about that before, but that's not the topic. The topic is how connected I was with everything and the oneness with everything. And not only that, but just the fact that I had this connection with the spirit realm, and that connection was so deep, and I would always be deeply into oldies music, as if that era resonated with me. The 50s and 60s music. When we would go fishing, I would always want to play oldies music. I would always say the fish would bite based on your energy. And, of course, people thought they were like, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with it, surely. They just thought it was a fun thing. It was just something a child said. That's what they would think. And I would say that you need to play. I said Jesus could attract fish. And I would sit there literally in the way, excuse me, I would say if you believe it, then they'll come to you. And I thought about it. And I would think about a fish, and I would say bite. And I threw out my line. And I was trying to catch catfish, so I was fishing with liver, and I hit this side of this bridge, and then it fell down, and immediately a catfish bit it, right when it fell down into the water. And that's when I caught my first, it was the first red-tailed catfish that I'd ever caught. And Daddy probably doesn't remember this, but I was fishing up there in Kentucky at the Kentucky Lake Browns Ford area, and I was fishing there at Browns Ford, and there's this huge lake, and when it would, I've got another story for there as well, but I would always want to play oldies music and just vibe to the oldies songs, and songs about, I remember the song The Age of Aquarius resonated, and this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, that song, and that would resonate as well, and songs that would, just oldies songs, Sugar Pie, Honey Bun, and then the Unchained Melody song, Whoa, my darling, that songs like that, and songs by Dion, Run Around Sue, and songs would be like Shoop Bop, Doobie Doo Bop Bop, the doo-wop music. I would listen to a lot of that when going fishing, or during fishing, and I would say that the energy vibe, based on your energy, the fish will bite. I said if you get frustrated or get mad, the fish won't bite. And sometimes I would go off, though, into a state to where it was weird. I had these things where I wouldn't even remember what happened, though. and I would just, something else would come through me, and I put the poles down, and I just walk on back to the vehicle. And it was weird. It's like something else came through me, and I didn't remember what happened during that couple of minutes. It was very strange. But also, I would attract the fish based on my energy, and Mama has seen that now as well, where we'll just, if we ever parked at a lake or whatever, and just watch nature, watch the fish, watch the water and the skies and everything. And we did that a while back, and I put my hand out and focused, and there were some fish starting to flop in that area. And it reminded me of like where the Lord says that all things are possible, and we're told that, and he told them that they could do the same thing. The fisherman he was helping them catch so many fish, and he was telling them they could do the same thing by focusing. I believe that's how it went. And they believed. And it's something interesting that's always happened to me. It's like I'm an old soul. And I would always, somehow or other, since I was a child, Elvis Presley, and I would listen to Elvis CDs and have this disco. I even pretended to be Elvis Presley. I was like talking like here. I'd hear the, oh, thank you very much. And I'll talk through this little thing right here, and I was pretending to be Elvis Presley. And I was talking through this fake microphone, this earbud right here, and I was acting like the earbud was a microphone. I was talking outside, and during a summer break, I remember doing that, and I would talk as Elvis Presley and play Elvis music. And there was this oldie CD, and that I would play in this tent in the house. I had this small tent, a small child's tent, and I wanted to. It's kind of like I was camping inside, and I would have that and disco music playing. But I was so sensitive that even the slightest energy change would hurt me, and it would affect my irritable bowel syndrome, side pains, body aches, and all of that. Well, I was very sensitive growing up as a child, and I still am today. And it's just something that I just wanted to share, that I felt as though I was an old soul. And I still do feel like an old soul in a way. Not to the extent as I did as a child, but I like a little of all types of varieties of music now. I like all types of varieties, but as a child, I was always listening to oldies music. And I listened to 96.3 back when it wasn't Jack FM, but it was actually oldies 96.3. And then there was one in Kentucky that they played a lot of oldies music, and that brings back good memories, and that was positive vibes and positive energy for me. I'm sorry it's a black screen. I'm not able to screen record. My tablet disappeared yesterday and suddenly reappeared. I was looking around in the vehicle, the back of the vehicle. I was like, where could this thing be? And then I said, well, whatever. And then I moved something, went to the mailbox, checked the mail, came back, boom! There it was in the back of the Nissan, right there in front of me where I just looked. I said, please return this thing. It had been gone for a couple of days, and then it was in the back seat, laying sideways in plain sight. Just got news, more than 54,000 Thomas-built buses have been recalled nationwide. Wow, that's a lot of buses. That was a cop in the background going by on the main road. But here's the thing: there was a bunch of school buses were recalled. But here's the thing: I was so deeply into oldies music, and I felt like an old soul, so to speak. And here's the thing: I remember being able to focus my energy, and I was thinking, a big fish will bite now. Daddy was saying, well, there's not going to be any fish biting right now. It's the first day of winter. Let's go. We're not going to catch anything. I focused and said, bite now. And this big bass that I still have mounted on the wall actually bit that line. And we paid for it little by little, and had the taxidermist fix it. And I'll never forget that. First day of winter. It was very cold. It was the first day of winter. It was in late December, December 21st, I think. And it was pretty cool how I focused. It was pretty amazing how I focused, and it happened. And that's happened to me multiple times throughout my childhood, where I would focus and fish would bite. And fish would come around. Animals connected with me. Nature connected. I connected with nature. And I had that strong connection But for some reason, I would want to play oldies music when I went fishing, or when I was fishing. That would help me to vibe and connect. Excuse me, the 50s and 60s music era. And people were shocked that a child my age was into the oldies music. But I always was, and I felt like an old soul, and like I was connected to that era. And that's me. That was me. And I'll never forget how when the water got up in the Kentucky Lake at Browns Ford, when the water rose, and excuse me, the Orion and meteor shower is going to be October 21st through the 22nd. The Orion and meteor shower. So, and they claim we'll see bits and pieces of Halley's Comet. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Halley, whichever it is in this reality. Anyway, what I was going to state is that when we went fishing and I played the oldies music, well, this one trip, the water was really, really high. They released the water from the dam, and there was also a lot of rain and major flooding. So when they released water from the dams, and the flooding happened as well, the water was way on up there. After it went down slightly, we went to fish there, and the water was up over the signs and everything. So then this something bit the line, and it was so large that neither of us could pull this thing in. It was back and forth slowly along the bottom, and it was, I just guessed a catfish. That's what I guessed, and that's what he guessed as well. I mean, well, actually I felt like it might have been something else, but he guessed a catfish. But whatever it was so strong that it just kept moving along the bottom, back and forth, very slowly. And neither of us, Daddy and I, neither of us were able to pull it in. We went back a week later to fish after the water had receded, had gone down, and our exact hook, and it's as if something had put it in that sign. Our exact hook. We had this weight and a hook. It was clipped onto that wooden sign where the water was up. Whatever it was clipped it onto that sign. So that's an interesting fishing story. I also seen an alligator in the waters, and I took off running back to the vehicle. And I got out of there. I hightailed it out of there. Yeah. That was not there. That was in a Tennessee water. And so yeah. But I had this connection. I also seen this weird looking serpent thing that looked like a giant eel, but it had the tail of like a whale tail, but it was like a gigantic eel that went upward, kind of like a cryptid creature or a cryptid being, and it went up above this log and then over the log and then back into the water and kept going and going and going, and then finally back into the water and then flopped that tail that looked like a whale tail. It was a fish tail but in the shape of a whale tail, and went down into the water like a whale's tail. And I've witnessed some strange things, but that's just some stories of mine. Those are some stories from childhood. These are the three fish. That one was the one I caught on the first day of winter. It was a 3-pounder, and that one right there I caught as well when I was 6 years old. That one I caught at 6 years old. Very big fish. And that one was the one, a huge big bass that I caught on May 5th, 2005, 5505, and at age 10. So those are the bass. Got the camera working a bit here, and then well, it's not. Well, I'll show you sometime. But anyway, those are the bass, and I'll make a video about them sometime. So anyway, yeah, I've always had this deep connection with nature and with oldies music, and just that's what I had this resonance, an old soul basically. But I'll talk about all that again very soon. I just wanted to share those personal stories about about myself. I love you all so much. Feel free to share your own stories and experiences, because that means a lot. I love you all. My links are below. Every little bit helps. And you can also message me by the email. Peace. Signing out.